Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, November the 20th, 2024. Well, I'm not Drew, Jason and Danny are talking. They're still at the cemetery and they're talking, and they even looked at baby Lila's grave, and had a little conversation, a great little conversation. And Danny, you know, told Jason he did something to someone, intentionally. He thinks he hurt someone and he didn't know how to feel about it or what to do about it. And Jason was honest. He goes, "Look, I've done things that hurt people that I didn't mean to. It doesn't right. Make it right. I've lashed out." And so Danny's like, "Oh, like you did with Uncle Drew last night?" And Jason says, "What do you know about me and Drew?" He says, "Well, it's not hard to put two and two together. We saw Drew's face," and he looked at Jason's knuckles, "and I see your hands. I can tell what happened. And I see, Jason has a bruise on his face." He goes, "And I can see your face." And he goes, "Anybody tell you you're smart?" you know? And Jason says, "Yeah." I mean, not Jason, Danny says, "Yeah, Mom used to tell me all the time." And Jason says, so he goes, "So what happened between you and Uncle Drew?" And Jason says, "Know this, Danny. I lost my temper. And what happened between me and Uncle Drew," because he goes, "Well, why?" He goes, "The reason is between me and Uncle Drew, and it's going to stay that way." And Danny was honest. He goes, "Well, see, that's just the thing, Dad. It's not just between you and Uncle Drew." And Jason looked at him like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What if you would have gotten arrested last night? You're all I have." He goes, "Drew isn't pressing charges, so I'm not getting arrested." He goes, "But you could have been." And Jason looked at him. He goes, "See, what you did, Dad, it has consequences. Scout saw Drew's face this morning and it scared her. She's already lost our mom. And to see her dad's face like that," and Jason says, "Well, I didn't mean for Scout to see that." And Danny says, "But it's there, which is what I'm saying. Your actions have consequences." And I thought, boy, does that sound like Sam talking to him, right? And Jason says, "You know what? You're right." He goes, "I'm proud of the fact that you're calling me out on my mistake." He said, "Your mom used to do that." And he goes, "And I'm going to try to do better." And Danny's like, "Good. I'm happy to hear that." Which was, and I thought, now that was a good exchange. That was a very good father son exchange. And I really like the way they wrote that. Um, Alexis is trying to find Sam's last will and testament, and she's just going through all kind of papers in Diane's office. And Molly's like, "Let me help you." And Sam says, "No, you can't look through these files, Molly, because you're an ADA. That's a conflict." And so she goes, "Okay, but Mom, you're frantically. You don't have to find it tonight." She goes, "Yes, I do. I have to find it tonight." So of course she did find it. Sam, when she did this will, she wants both Scout and Danny to go to Drew. Well, we all know Jason ain't going for that. I think Dante's going to be the one to get them kids because Jason ain't going for that. And Alexa says, so Sam says, "Wait a minute. Danny to go. I understand Scout, but Danny?" And so Alexis said, she goes, "When did Sam do this will?" And Alexa goes, "A number of years ago." She goes, "Okay, so this is what, when Jason was presumed dead?" Because this certainly isn't recent where she's with Dante. And so Alexis says, yeah, I know. And she says, and did Sam just forget to update her will? Or is this what she really wants? Did she intentionally want Danny to go to Drew? And Alexis says, I don't know. Did she mention anything to you? And Molly says, no. I do know Sam had a problem with Jason's influence over Danny. And Alexis is like, and who wouldn't? Right? She's saying, but Alexis says, I thought Sam and Jason are in a better place or had gotten in a better place. Molly says, no, they had. And she goes, and Jason and Danny are getting close. And Molly said, yeah, they are. So either Sam forgot to change the will or she still didn't want to change the will. And I'm like, no, she would not want, with Jason back, she would not want Danny to go. And with Dante and her creating this family that they've created, she would not want Danny to go to Drew. That's a given. So Alexis says, bottom line, it's going to be my job to enforce my daughter's wishes. And Molly says, that's going to be tough because Jason is not going to want Danny to be with Drew. And what are you going to do, Mom, if you have to fight in court? What are you going to do? She goes, I'm going to do whatever I can to honor Sam's wishes. And I'm thinking, well, then good God, girl, that's going to get ugly. Jason will do what's best for Danny, but he will say, no, no, no. I'm not giving custody of my son over to Drew. Now, Drew lives at the Quartermain Mansion. My son can live with my mother. Okay. My son can live at the Quartermain Mansion right there with his sister. But that's not the only concession Jason should make. Period. Period. So that we'll see how that goes, especially with Jason knowing Drew's ugly, dirty dealings. And I'm sorry, Drew did not plan on taking Scout to Washington, D.C. with him because Scott was living with her mother. So now, is that going to change? Is he going to take Scout away? Jason would definitely not let him take Danny. Nor would Danny want to go to Washington, D.C. So, yeah, there's going to be some things going on there. And then Molly was talking to Alexis saying that Rick has called her for the defense as a witness for the defense. And Alexis says, wait, what? You and your sister are just getting into a better place. Why would he want to jeopardize that? She goes, well, because who better to paint a picture of how volatile Christina is than me? And Alexis says, would you really do that? Would you get on the stand and Molly's like, and what, Mom? And tell the truth? I am bound to get on that stand and tell the truth. And Alexis goes, I know, because I'm thinking, girl, you asking your daughter to perjurize her stuff, because you would do that. Alexis would do it in a heartbeat. Molly's like, oh, no, no, no. I'm not going to perjurize myself, but Molly's crafty. See, Rick is crafty, but Molly's crafty too. So I think Molly's going to have a little something, something for her daddy. And then Christina was over to the penthouse packing away some of Sam's stuff. I forget she's Dante's sister as well sometimes, right? So they had a good long talk. And of course, Dante's going back, it's my fault, it's my fault. I'm so tired of Dante. It's my fault. It's not your fault, Dante. So they had a good talk and Lucas was, it's my fault, it's my fault. Lucky and Elizabeth saw him outside. They were outside of Bobby's talking and they saw him inside. Um and so they're letting him know it's not your fault. You know you did your best and blah blah blah. So Lucas gets a call from Terry wanting to see him in her office. So he leaves, and Elizabeth and Lucky still talk. And Lucky still, I haven't decided what I'm. Elizabeth's like, when you decide, let me know. She's like, hey, and I've had it up to here. I don't know. Oh, get out of here with that Lucky. They could do better with Lucky and his. I don't know. I don't know. So the autopsy result is in. So that means, look, I don't know how they miraculously gonna put her body back together and put them organs back in it, because this should be a wrap for Sam, right? Um, it was no surgical um malpractice was done, no surgical errors, but she had an overdose amount of this drug called digitalis. And I didn't look up what it does, but it made Sam have a heart attack. So now it is going to look like foul play. So Terry calls Elizabeth after, because Lucas, she she tells him, she gives him the file, and he's like, huh? So she calls Elizabeth to come into her office. Elizabeth goes, and she sits down with Terry, and Terry's letting her know, we have to open up an investigation as to, the procedure. And Elizabeth's like, okay, but is the autopsy in? And she says, yes. And what were the results? And Terry says, an overdose of digitalis. And Elizabeth said, digitalis? That was not a prescribed drug on the list. And I triple checked the list. And Terry says, good. But we need to go through step by step, through every step, your surgical nurse team, what they did, what they administered, and what you did and what you administered. She goes, you might want to call a union rep for this. And Elizabeth's like, wait a minute. Are you trying to say I'm the cause of Lulu's death? I mean, Sam's death? And Terry's like, Elizabeth, no. But we do have to do an investigation to find out. That's what I'm telling you. So we also have, let's go to my picture. We also have Lulu, she's awake. Well, she was laying in there, and Cyrus was talking to one of the administrators outside her room, or doctor, and he was talking about how, you know, well, her vitals are. She's doing better than expected. This is the new place, Turning Woods. And he goes, Cyrus says, I was the one who recommended this place for my sister. So Cyrus goes in, he sits with Lulu, and he goes, dear Lulu, I told you. And while he's outside the room talking, Lulu flashed back to 5 years ago, because remember, she doesn't know anything from 5 years to date. This is when Cyrus was head of the hospital. See, this is what she remembered when he was telling her that he could make life really difficult for her. She better heed his warnings or whatever. So she remembers him as a bad guy, which, look, the verdict still ain't out, right? Now, what was interesting was, back then, Cyrus had a ponytail. Now his hair is cut. So they couldn't fix that, although they could have, but they felt, that wasn't no big deal, because they had to reshoot the scene with this actress playing Lulu versus the other actress playing Lulu. So anyway, Lulu, when Cyrus comes in, she's still playing like she's unconscious. She's laying there. And he sits by her side and he goes, dear Lulu, the doctors are saying that you're doing much better. And I'm going to take care of you just like I promised. And she's thinking, oh my goodness, is he going to try to kill me? So the doctor comes back and says, listen, I'm going to contact her mother to let her know a progress on how well she's doing, exceptionally well. And Cyrus says, no, I want to be the one to tell my dear sister this news, because I want her to manage her expectations. And so the doctor's like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, no, that ain't no, because in real world, Cyrus should not know Lulu's medical condition. That administrator overstepped his bounds, even though he knows that's Cyrus's niece. But that doesn't mean that Cyrus can know Lulu's medical progress or history. Or maybe in that long-term facility, family can, because in a lot of places, family members can know personal information. So maybe that's one of them. So Cyrus leaves. And now Lulu, not understanding she's been in a coma, she had realized she had been operated on because she had this pain and she saw this bandage and she took the gauze off and looked at the scar. And I'm thinking, okay, girl, you can get that infected, right? She decides now she is going to get out of the bed. And I'm like, no, you haven't walked for over 5 years. Actually, her bones and joints should have atrophied a bit because look, if this last place she was at didn't really monitor her vitals regarding what was happening to her with all that the medications, the reaction she had, they weren't turning her, they weren't giving her any kind of muscle therapy, they weren't doing nothing over the 5 years, right? So she tested. Now these pictures are top left, then bottom, then top right. She tries to get up. She's testing her feet. She's like thinking, why am I so weak? So she's holding on to the machine pole that's next to her bed. And she takes one step. And when she tries to take the other, of course she falls. Her legs cannot support her weight. And quite frankly, neither can her arms. She would not have any kind of muscle tone. So she hits the ground and she's in pain from her incision. She has the strength of Wonder Woman because she's able to roll over to her bed and actually get up and sit, pull herself up and sit on the bed. Wow. And she's rubbing her legs, trying to get circulation in her legs. Like, why did that hurt? Why did I fall? Why do I, she doesn't know any of that. In her mind, the only thing she knows, I've got a chair with a red uh, headrest on it. You can see it kind of through that. Anyway, I can see it. Um, she's just wondering what's happening, and in her mind, she just got to get away from Cyrus Renault. So she watched Lulu's gonna come up missing from there, which is ridiculous. Bottom line, Lulu, when one of the doctors come in, you let them know you're awake and you let them know you want to speak to your mother. That is way too easy. But watch, there's gonna be a whole big to do where that's concerned because Lulu's gonna do something that will endanger her life, right? So we'll see how that goes. But that is it. We're gonna go to comment corner. But before I go to comment corner, everybody remember follow me on TikTok. I only got maybe five of you GH Daily Recap folks that followed me on TikTok. I know TikTok and YouTube's different, and not everybody has TikTok, and I understand that. But go ahead and give me a follow at Daily Recap Lady, or you could type in the search bar. I want you to do both Grandma's Gadgets. So I have two accounts. Please follow me on both of those accounts. So let's go to comment corner. We're going to go from the bottom down this time, from the bottom down. And I'm going to start my trusty dusty stopwatch. Okay, here we go. Tanya says, I did say, or did say Scout Morgan, but they changed her name after they found out Drew's name. Oh, okay. Jason and Sam married in 2011. Knew Drew and Sam divorced and then remarried when Jason returned. It made the divorce and the second marriage null and void. She then married Drew for 2 months and So they were only married once. So actually Kane, so she married Drew Kane. And then also technically, because they were identical twins, Scout by DNA is also Jason's daughter. Uh, when they first met, he told her he was almost her father. That was funny. And then you talk about Lucky, he cheated with Maxie. I remember that for the drugs. Um, Liz climbed 15 flights of stairs to talk to Jason in a blackout. Oh, of course, of course. Jason and Sam finally broke up after the kidnapping of Jake. Sam got with Lucky for revenge, but they fell in love uh, and were together for for most of 2008. Oh, I didn't know that. Which actor playing Lucky did that? Jason and Liz were secretly together during the same time frame. I hated 2008 and usually skip it when I rewatch. Oh, okay. And then let's see, Rosebud says we found. Did I go to the bottom? We found Geo's purpose in GH. He played at at Sam's funeral, not for Trina. Farewell, fail Sam. DL says. Coretta says Cameron Matheson Drew barely had any screen time with Sam. That's true. And most time they were together was when Billy Miller was in the role. That's right. They could not have done a flashback, or they would have had to do a rescene, but they were showing Sam through the ages, so it would not have looked right. Um, and Sam got together with Greg Vaughn's Lucky. Okay, you answered my question. It was a different Lucky. Um, and Sharon says, I thought you were watching General Hospital for years. Now this is the early 90s. No, I have, but depending on what was going on in my life, I would DVR it. I mean, I had my daughter in 1990 and then my youngest son in 1993. So it all depends. Um, what I'm caught up in life, and I would, watch General Hospital not enough to want to do recaps on it. So I definitely didn't pay attention to a whole lot of that, especially if it was a Sam and a Lucky thing. That'd been a fast forward. Um, Sharon says Sam and Lucky. Sam was with Lucky, the second guy that played Lucky. It was on pills and drinking Lucky. Oh, that Lucky. And Samantha, what's the weather? That's what she planned kidnapping. Oh yeah, that was crappy. Just K says, I don't know why Nina was there. Diane should have been at the funeral. I know. I don't understand why Geo was there until the end, or I didn't understand. At least he had a part. Nina didn't need to be there. She sure didn't. I teared eyed when Molly, Spinelli, Alexis went to speak. Sad episode when everyone did great. Yeah, it was a sad episode. Crystal says Nina was there to support Drew. Oh, yeah, of course. She thinks he's a good dude that made a mistake by kissing her daughter only once. She will get a rude awakening eventually. And then Dacia says Scout couldn't be Jason Morgan's daughter instead of Drew. Why would Ava wasn't there, or why would Ava wasn't there? Because Ava is Sam's at. No, Ava knew not to be there because of the trial coming up. And the family blames her for the loss of Christina's baby. Oh, she knew not to show her face there. Jennifer says Sam spilled the tea to Lucky regarding Elizabeth being pregnant with Jason's baby, not Lucky's. Sam and Lucky started dating after that. Oh, wow. Jackie says it was a nice service for Sam. Did. I was hoping Christina will put a dramatic scene, but I was stunned that she didn't do it. I'm happy she didn't. Gio would play the violin. Lucas keeps blaming himself. I don't care about Lulu waking up. Big deal. Frank got what he wanted to get rid of her and waking up zombie Lulu. Frank, I hope you're happy. He must be the writer. He must be a writer. Um, I hope you're happy you got what you wanted. If Cyrus was the one that killed Sam, I'm not going to be happy. I don't think it was Cyrus because he would have no reason to kill Sam. Laura did not, Laura was not there at the funeral. I don't know why Laura wasn't there. She should have been there thanks to Sam. I know. I didn't know why Laura wasn't there either. Let me scroll down a bit because time is running out. Denzel, I'm going to read a couple sentences of yours. Denzel says, love the Sam's funeral scenes when a lot of people were remembering and talking about Sam. Her flashbacks make Molly and Christina Spinelli, Carly, Elizabeth, Lucky, Dante, Rocco talking about Sam is the real reason they became a family again. Remembering his flashbacks with Sam when my boy Jason, along with their son Danny, yeah. And then Alexis, when she was talking, her flashback, when she approached Sam at the chapel and Sam agreed to save Christina. I know, my goodness. Um, then that same year in 2004, she lost her first child, Lila. So if you do the math, see, they've aged Christina. Sam's baby, no, yeah, they still have. Sam's baby died in 2004, would have been 20 now. However, Christina at that time, I think, was 2 years older. So Christina would be 22 slash possibly 24, which is the age Molly is now. So they've aged actually both of those characters. Everybody go back, finish reading all of Denzel's comments. There was a whole lot more to that. Um, Lynn one says Nina shouldn't have been there. She tried to kill Sam when she came to Port Charles because she was with her ex-husband. That's true. Who was named Silas, who was played by the actor who was Finn. That is so true. I forgot about that. Denzel says to Lin Juan that he said that Nina shouldn't have been at the funeral. Denzel, stop it. I ain't even gonna read the rest of that. Sandy says, I hate we have lost fair Samantha. Vita says, me too. NK Rose says, I'm thinking Lucky had an affair. Yeah, we found that out. And then NK Rose also says, sad to see her go, but she did open more story for her. We'll see if they do a miracle. J Girl says, Sam and Lucky had a fling after they found out Jason and Liz were sneaking around. Okay, so that's when all of that happened. All right, everybody, that is it. That's it for Comment Corner. Everybody read the rest of everybody else's comments. We're at like 52, 53 comments. Excellent job. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.